Good afternoon to you, or really more specifically I should say good morning, because it's 3 AM here. I'm wearing sunglasses, I have half a pack of cigarettes and I'm ready to go, so as they say in the movie. So I'm really pleased to have been asked to come and talk to you by Greg, just briefly on a video. I'm at Bill Borman, for anyone on Twitter who may know me, or Bill Borman. I run a company called True Events. I've been involved in recruiting around about 27 years, so I kind of sit halfway between this camp of I'm very much an old school recruiter, I think like an old school recruiter, and I speak about old school recruiting things, but I also talk quite a bit about the new Kool, because I've worked with brands now like Hard Rock and Oracle on things like, bang, that was a name drop in case you didn't catch that, on things like recruiting in Facebook. We hired 120 people in 4 weeks using Facebook entirely, so I understand the new Kool stuff. And Greg's asked me to speak about the concept of talent community and what talent community means to me. I kind of have mixed feelings about talent communities. I'm not convinced that they really exist. I think we talk about talent communities, but look at it from a job seeker's point of view. And does somebody really want to be held in a pen until such point as we as recruiters want to dip in and hire them and speak to them at that point? And do we as recruiters really want to be talking to people who we might be involved in hiring in 3, 4 or 5 years time? Have we even got time to do that? I know certainly if any of the recruiters who have worked for me in the past have come to me and I've said, right, okay, what's going on? What placements have you made at the moment? What activity have you got on today? And they said, oh yeah, we've had a great day. I've been speaking to people who we might place in 3 years' time. I think my reaction wouldn't have been the best one, and the door would have been shown fairly quickly. So I think we need to get the concept right. Recruitment still, yes, there's a lot of relationship involved in it, but it's still primarily transactional in terms of talking to people when they're looking for jobs, and just building contacts and networking and maintaining some kind of relationship with those people who aren't. I also think those people who aren't looking for a job don't really want to be talking to recruiters about jobs and recruitment stuff all the time, and the times when they're what might be called passive candidates is when they don't want to be talking to us. So what we need to think about is looking at things slightly differently, and one of the terms that I use with the customers I work with is talking about talented communities, which is creating communities or hangouts of places with talented people where where there is a common cause, there's some kind of dialogue, but it's not actually about recruitment. But at the same time, if we think about something like a Facebook page, we create a tab where people can apply if they want to. We make ourselves as recruiters accessible to them for the times they want to talk to us, and we do a certain amount of keep in touch activity in terms of just talking to people, because I don't think recruitment's really changed at all in terms of the way you do things, other than the tools and channels that we've got now give us extended reach, enable us to go further. And probably the one thing that is unprecedented that we've never had in my time is that anyone I'm connected with, I can find out what they do. So I think the challenge for us as recruiters is to create these not talent pools, not talent communities, but something Carrie Corbyn said to me at a TNL event recently in Texas. Carrie Corbyn heads up the communities for AT&T in the States. It's someone who you consider to be really a real expert in these areas. She actually talks about the fact that AT&T, they don't have any talent communities at all. What they run is talent networks, and that is trying to get people, make sure that they are connected with the people who've got the talent that they may need at some point. And as recruiters, I think that's what we need to do: identify those people, give them a common reason to connect with us, and make sure when we do connect, the way in which we treat them is in the right way, which means being accessible and talking to them at the right times. And that means doing things like making sure that we've got a common cause. There is a community, a talented community, which they can join, where they can create their own content, get what they want, and some of that will sometimes be getting a job, sometimes it'll be getting advice from us, sometimes it'll just be understanding and checking in with what's going on, and having the comfort of knowing that should they want to contact us to apply for a job or contact us for a bit of advice, they can do that. And the social channels enable us to do that en masse without really talking. Remember, in any community, 95% of it is really lurking. That's people who belong to it and don't do anything. So I think whether it's a LinkedIn group, whether it's Facebook page, whether it's just people we're connected with. The challenge is to create these talented communities on a common theme where people are talking in the right channels, not talking about recruiting or hiring, but we're connected with them and we make sure we know everyone who is in that network to the time when we need them, we can go to them, which is really the Creating Talent Network. And that first message when you connect with people is absolutely key. When you're first reaching out to people to talk to them about jobs, and this is the big mistake I see lots of people making in social media, you've got to make sure you follow the rule of the 3 R's. The rule of the 3 R's is that you've researched the people you're going to talk to, you've identified what's relevant in your message, and you make that very clear. This is the reason why this is why I'd like to have a conversation or have a coffee or get together with you. People are always willing to do that. We like the face-to-face, we like the networking, we like the phone contact. So making sure that the relevance is put across, the research, the relevance, and then the reference to say, look, this is why I think you're right. And I think if you follow the 3 R's and learn that as recruiters, build your networks in terms of people who may be of use. Don't try and build this community, which is a holding pool, but just try and be connected with people. We're great at that, recruiters, because we do 2 things. We know a little bit about an awful lot of stuff. We know a little bit about everything because we deal with lots of different candidates. We deal with lots of different clients and lots of different jobs. So we've always got a conversation starter when we first meet or we go and talk to people. We're social animals and we're essentially nosy. That's what makes us good recruiters. It's a great business that we work in. So I think follow the 3 R's, think talented community rather than talent community, and think about network. Just think about talent network and building a network in the right way to target the right people. And just be there, just be around, be there, be accessible, and make sure that you've got your profiles up to date and you can be found. And when you follow those tips, hasn't really changed in terms of recruiting. It's recruiting, we just happen to have added into the mix these social networks which enable us to reach further. So the last thing I want to say before I quit is thanks everybody for turning up for today's event. I think it's fantastic that you're supporting a great appeal, which is the Duncan Cunningham Family Appeal. No doubt a lot's been said about that. I was actually the first person to train Duncan in the UK, so you can kind of say any of his recruiting futures was a little bit of my fault. And I remember Duncan particularly well, and over the last couple of years we've been able to reconnect through the social channels. So Duncan was a great guy. Thumbs up to you for turning up. Well done to Greg, kind of the Crocodile Dundee in our part of the world. Well, I hope you have a great day, enjoy it, and I'm going to be over in Melbourne in a week's time, next Friday actually, speaking at the Australasian Talent Conference sourcing event, and I'm going to be in Melbourne from Tuesday. So if you're coming to the event, come and see me. If you're not coming to the event but you're in Melbourne, find me on Twitter @BillBorman, look me up, and I'd love to have a beer and just let's talk recruiting.